Good morning and shalom. Today we're going to be reading the book of Yahu'sha, or Joshua, chapter 13. And Yahu'sha was old, advanced in his years, and Yahuwah said to him, "You are old, advanced in your years, and still much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the districts of the Philistines and all the Geshurites. From Shihor, which is in front of Mishraim, and up to the border of Akron, northward, are considered as Canaanite. The 5 princes of the Philistines, the Azathites, and the Ashadites, the Eshkolanites, the Gittites, and the Ekronites. Also the Awites on the south. All the land of the Canaanites and Marah that belongs to Sidonians as far as Ephek to the border of the Amorites. And the lands of the Gibeonites and all Lebanon toward the sunrise from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon, as far as the entrance of Hamath, and all the inhabitants of the mountains from Lebanon as far as Merisophath, Maim, and all the Sonians, I myself drive them out from before the children of Yashrael, only divided by lot to Yashrael as an inheritance as I have commanded you. And now divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh. And with them the other half tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites, receive their inheritance, which Moshe had given them beyond the Jordan, eastward, as Moshe the servant of Yahu'ah had given them. From Aor, which is on the bank of Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain of Medebe, as far as Dibion, and all the cities of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reign in Heshbon, as far as the border of the children of Ammon, and Gilead, and the border of the Geshurites, and of the Megahathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, as far as Salcah. All the reign of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, and Edrei, who remained of the remnant of the Rephaites, for Moshe has stricken and disposed them. However, the children of Yashrael did not drive out the Geshurites nor the Mahalathites, so the Geshurites and the Mahalathites dwell in the midst of Yashrael to this day. Only to the tribe of Levi he had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to Yahu'ah, Eluah of Yashrael, were their inheritance, as he said to them. And Moshe gave to the tribe of the children of Reuben for their clans. And their border was from Aor, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain by Medebe, Heshbon, and all its cities that are in the plain, Dibon, and Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Meon, and Yatsah, and Kedemoth, and Mephatath, and Kiriathim, and Sibmah, Sereth, Shahar, on the mountain of the valley, and Beth Peor, and the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Yeshemoth, and all the cities of the plain in all the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moshe had stricken with the princes of Midian. Ui and Rekem, and Sur and Hur and Reba, princes of Sihon, dwelling in the land. And the sons of Yashrael killed with the sword Balaam, son of Beor, the diviner, among those who were killed by them. And the border of the children of Reuben was the bank of the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben for their clans, the cities and their villages. And Moshe gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad for their clans, and their border was Yazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, as far as Eor, which is before Rabbah. And from Heshbon to Ramoth, Mizpeh, and Betomen, and from Menashim to the border of Debir. And in the valley of Beth Haram, and Beth Nimrah, and Succoth, and Saphon, and the rest of the reign of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, the Jordan being its border as far as the edge of the sea of Kinnereth, beyond the Jordan eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad for their clans and the cities and their villages. And Moshe gave to half the tribe of Manasseh, and it was for half the tribe of the children of Manasseh for their clans, and their borders was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, and all the small towns of Yare, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. For the half of Gilead, and Esheroth, and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og in Bashan, were for the children of Machri, son of Manasseh, to the half of the children of Machir for their clans. These Moshe gave as an inheritance to the desert plains of Moab before the Jordan in Yarrow eastward. But to the tribe of Levi Moshe gave no inheritance. Yahu'ah Eluah of Yashrael, he was their inheritance, and he had said to them. Chapter 14. Now these the children of Yashrael inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Yahu'sha son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of Yashrael caused them to inherit. Their inheritance was by lot, as Yahu'ah commanded by the hand of Moshe, for the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. For Moshe had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half-tribe beyond the Jordan, but to the Levi he gave no inheritance in their midst. And for the children of Yusuf had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. And they gave no part to the Levites in the land, except cities to dwell in, with their open land for the livestock and their possessions. As Yahu'ah had commanded Moshe, so the children of Yashrael did, and they divided the land. And the children of Yehudah came to Yahu'sha in Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Quiznite, said to him, You know the word of Yahu'ah said to Moshe the man of Eluah concerning you, and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moshe the servant of Yahu'ah sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, so I followed Yahu'ah my Eluah completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, The land on which your foot has trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahu'ah my Eluah completely. And now see, Yahu'ah has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since Yahu'ah spoke this word to Moshe while Yashrael walked in the wilderness. And now see, I am 85 years old today. Yet I am still as strong today as I was on that day Moshe sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now, for battle, and for going out, and for coming in. And now give me this mountain of which Yahuwah spoke in that day. For you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them, as Yahuwah said. Yahu'sha then baruched him and gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Quiznite, to this day, because he followed Yahu'ah, Eluah of Yashrael, completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kirath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from fighting. Chapter 15. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Yehudah for their clans was to the border of Adam, the wilderness of Sin, southward in the extreme south. And their southern border began at the edge of the Salt Sea, from the bay that faces southward. And it went out to the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim, passed over to Sin, and went up on the south side of Kadesh Barnea, and passed over to Heshron, went up to Adar, and went around to Karaka, and passed over to Atzmon, and went out to the Wadi of Misraim, and the border ended at the sea. This is your southern border. And the east border was the Salt Sea as far as the end of the Yarden. And the border on the northern quarter began at the bay of the sea at the end of the Yarden. And the border went up to Bath Hagla, and passed over north of Bath Araba. And the border went up to the stone of Bahan, son of Reuben. And the border went up toward Daber from the valley of Achor, and it turned northward toward Gilgal, which is before the ascent of Adumim, which is south of Wadi. And the border passed over to the waters of En Shemesh, and ended at En Regal. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom, to the southern slopes of Yesabite, the city that is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lies before the valley of Rephaim northward. And the border went around from the top of the hill to the fountain of the water of Nethoah, and went up to the cities of Mount Ephron. And the border went around to Baal, that is Kirath Yarim. And the border turned around from Baal westward to Mount Seir, and passed over to the side of Mount Yarim on the north. That is Kesalim, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed over to Timnah. And the border went out to the side of Ekron northward, and the border went around the Shikaron, and passed over to Mount Balael, and went out to Yabneel, and the border ended at the sea. And the west border was the coastline of the Great Sea, This is the boundary of the children of Yehuda all around for their clans. And to Caleb, son of Yefuneh, he gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehuda, according to the mouth of Yahu'ah to Yahu'sha. Kirath Arba, that is Hebron, Arba was the father of Anak. And Caleb drove out the 3 sons of Anak from there, Sheshai and Ayaman and Talameh, the children of Anak. And he went up from there to the inhabitants of Debre, and the name of Debre formerly was Kirath Shepher. And Caleb said, He who strikes Kirath Shepher and shall capture it, to him I shall give Yahu'sha my daughter as wife. And Othniel, son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, did capture it, so he gave him Yahu'sha his daughter as wife. And it came to be, when she came to him, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. And when she got off from the donkey, Caleb said to her, What is the matter? And she said, Give me a baraka. Since you have given me land in the south, give me also fountains of water. And he gave her the upper fountains and the lower fountains. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yehuda for their clans. And the cities at the furthest border of the tribe of the children of Yehuda, toward the border of Adam in the south, were Kabseel and Adar and Yagar and Cana and Damana and Adana and Kadesh and Hasor and Yunath, Ziph and Telim and Be'elath, Hasser, Adarath, and Kiriath, Heshron, that is Hashter, Amam, Shema, Malada, and Hester, Gada, Heshmon, Beth Palet, and Hester, Shaul, and Beersheba, and Bisyonath, Yah, Baal El, and Liam, and Istiam, and Italad, Kisil, Horma, Tislak, Hadamana, Hasana, Labath, Shaleim, Ayin, Rimmon. All the cities were 29 with their villages. In the low country, Eshtaol, in Seorah, in Ashana, in Zonoah, in En Garnim, Tapawah, in Anam, Yarmuth, in Adullam, Sukkah, and Azukah, in Sheraim, in Adinithium, in Gerada, in Geriotham. 14 cities were their villages. Seanan and Hadasha and Medagal, Gad and Dilian and Mitzvah and Yokathael, Lachish and Baskath and Eglon and Kaban and Laham and Kithish and Gederoth, Beth Dagon, and Nahama, and Madagath, Makana. 16 cities were their villages. Libnah and Esther and Ashan, and Yiftah, and Ashna, and Nitz, and Keilah, and Akzib, and Marasha. 9 cities were their villages. Ekron with its own towns and its villages, from Ekron to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod were their villages. Ashdod, its towns and its villages, Azariah, its towns and its villages, as far as the Wadi of Mishraim and the Great Sea with its coastline. And in the mountain country, Shamur and Yatir and Sukkot and Dana and Kiriath Sana, that is Deber and Anab and Eshtemo and Anam and Goshen and Holland and Gilor, 11 cities with their villages. And Yanam and Beth Tapua and Afika and Humta and Kirith Arba, that is Hebron, and Seor, 9 cities with their villages. Ma'am, Carmel, Zaif, in Utah, in Yisrael, in Yokadam, in Zanoah, Kayin, Geba, Timnah, 10 cities were their villages. Halua, Baeth Sur, and Gedur, in Marath, in Baeth Onath, in Elaquan, 6 cities with their villages. Karath Baal, that is Karath Yerim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Baeth Araba, Midin, in Saraka, in Nibshan, in the city of Salt, and Gede, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Yeshuvites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Yehuda were unable to drive them out, so the Yeshuvites have dwelt with the children of Yehuda at Jerusalem to this day. Chapter 16. And the lot for the children of Joseph went out from the Yarden to Yarrow, to the waters of Yarrow on the east, to the wilderness going up from Yarrow through the mountain of Bethel, and went out from Bethel to Luz, and passed over to the border of the Archites at Ataroth, and went down westward to the boundary of the Yephilites, as far as the boundary of lower Beth Horon to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. Thus the children of Yosef, Manasseh, and Ephraim inherited. And the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their clans, was the border of their inheritance. On the east side was Ataroth Adar, as far as the upper Beth Haran. And the border went out toward the sea to Mekenneth on the north, and then the border went around eastward to Tanath Shiloh, and passed over it on the east of Johanna, and went down from Johanna to Ataroth, and Nahara reached to Yarrow, and came out at the Yarden. From Tapawah the border went westward to the Wadi Kana, and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim for their clans. And the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were in the midst of their inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. And they did not drive out the Canaanites who dwelt in Gezer, so the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, and have become compulsory labor.